So today is just another life update video, and I'm going to be talking about how it's almost been 6 months since I moved out here. So I moved out here back in November, I think around the 24th. So May 24th, around that time, will be coming up 6 months. But before I moved up here, I actually made a promise to myself that for these 6 months, the first 6 months that I'm out living in Seattle, I would only focus on photography and video. That means I won't pick up any other work, apply for any other jobs, and all that stuff until 6 months, seeing where I'm at, right? So I have a full 6 month of hustling, straight hustling, nothing but focusing on making this my life, And honestly, I was doing really good. I was making my income from November until February was gradually going a very positive incline, and then all this happened, and everything just went straight from this to straight zero. So, and it's not bad. Like, I'm not fully stressed or worried or anything, but I think it's slowly getting to me. For example, today, I just paid the rest of next month's rent, but I accidentally paid $40 over, meaning I actually, so if I planned it correctly, if I didn't mess up on that typo, I would have had like $2.58 left in my bank account, in my checking. So like not including savings or the money I set aside for taxes at the end of the year. But I messed up and I typed $40 extra, so technically my checking went into a negative. And yeah, so like now I've been, that happened today. So I'm not necessarily stressed, but I think I'm a little irritated at myself for making that mistake. But that's life, You make these mistakes and you just learn from them. The nice thing is my rent's taken care of for next month, so all I have to do is worry about phone bills, electricity, all the other stuff, right? So the month of March and April, I'll talk about this, were actually not bad because I haven't really had to dive into my savings except for the rest of March, because I had to pay the remainder of what I didn't make from everything getting canceled and postponed. But April, I was lucky enough to get a lot of grants, relief funds from different artist foundations, funds, people just making GoFundMes, or just the government aid. Technically, I don't qualify for unemployment or anything, so I didn't benefit from the $1,200 because 2019 I was living with my parents, so they got to collect that money. And yeah, so I actually got nothing from the government, and somehow I paid for April's rent with everything so I used April's money to pay for May's rent. There we go. Yeah. So I paid for May's rent through all of these relief funds that I was able to qualify and receive, which I'm super thankful for. But yeah, so I just wish I didn't go over, because it's nothing wrong going in my savings, but I just don't want to waste it all so soon. I worked so hard to raise this number so I could go full-time freelance out here, which luckily enough I only ended up using a couple grand since moving out here. I think only for every single month. I think for November, since I moved out halfway, I paid. I had to use some. December, I fully booked enough to cover that, but then January I had to use some because I came home for Christmas and I got everyone gifts. Don't buy people gifts if you don't have the money for it. I had the money for it, but I spent more than I thought I would coming home, so ended up using savings. And then so February I was solid, and then March was solid, and then April had to dive into some savings, and then this month I was solid. But yeah, so I just don't want to use all my savings right away. I'm trying to actually hustle. I'm actually trying to make this a living career and all that stuff. And Anything that's in my checking is the money I want to be using, and anything that's in my savings I want to invest for future endeavors. So as of right now, I'm kind of lost. I don't really know what I should be doing, but I've been applying for jobs. I actually start a job at Amazon on May 4th, and then I applied for a second job as well. I'll be working at a local grocery store on May 11th. I was gonna start sooner, but I just want to see how this Amazon thing goes and how flexible they are, and then make a more solidified schedule with the grocery store job that I just applied for. And yeah, so that's kind of like the main thing I've been focused on. Like, I've been making a lot more content, if you haven't noticed, which is really good for me, and I'm really happy that I'm doing that. But I think it's like the logical thing to do is go back into a regular 9 to 5 setting and just start making some money and actually like being able to pay my rent, have some savings or build some savings again, and actually have money to not just, well, how do I say it? Not to just break even every single month. I need to start actually being smart about stuff. And normally my main thing would have been move to Seattle, get some jobs, do the photography thing on the side, but I wanted to give myself a chance to dive into this fully. And I did. And it was going really good. Just, you can't predict life, right? You can't predict how all this happened, and now what can you do, right? So I'm going back into a regular 9 to 5 job, and then my contract work with the company I do for all my side freelancing, they're also on like hold because the world's on hold. So until they pick back up, I can't just be waiting until they pick up again, and I can't be waiting until people are like comfortable to take photos again, to do family sessions, couple sessions, headshots, etc. I just have to start moving forward, right? And whether this was part of the plan or not, I said 6 months, and I'm gonna hold myself accountable for it. So I think like the biggest thing in my head is, am I giving up, or did I give up too soon and all that stuff? And honestly, I don't think so. Life isn't linear. Like, that's the thing I learned about in high school, right? You can't just predict how everything's going to turn out. You can't predict that you're going to make it. You can't predict that you're going to be successful. You just have to live it and see how it goes. Like, it 100% could be true that I could be making YouTube videos and posting on Instagram every single day for the rest of my life and still be nowhere, right? I could put as much work as I want and my photography could go nowhere. That 100% can be true. It's just that this is something I believe in and something I have to do, right? So for me to go back into a regular work setting, I don't think it's a setback. I just think it's just a step in the process. And that's something that I had to really look into myself and think about and just acknowledge that just because I have to go back into a regular work setting doesn't mean that I'm a failure, that I gave up, that I quit too early, right? It's just, this is a little side path that I have to take to go back on the main path. And the nice thing about experiencing something like this already, I'm not disappointed in myself. In fact, it just motivates me more that I was in a situation like this, because I promised myself I never would be back in a situation like this. But now I'm more determined than ever to never be in this position again, right? So after, whether I have to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs just to pursue this passion, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go back and do it, right? I've woken up from 3 a.m., came home from 9 p.m. before. I've done 18-hour days, 7 days a week. I've done it before. I'm not really scared of doing it again. In fact, if I have to do it again to be where I want to be, I'll do it. So yeah, so this is my little rant for today. Not necessarily applying to anyone. It's just more of a video message to myself saying, I got this. And whoever is experiencing the same thing, whoever is a full-time freelancer or planning on going freelance or had these big goals for 2020, right? Because 2020, new decade, we're all gonna make it. And now there's setbacks. Just know it's just a setback. It doesn't mean that everything is over, and we'll get through it. And if you can get through this, especially if you can start focusing on moving forward during a time when life stops, I think we'll be better than ever, especially after all this is over. I think we'll be in a better position emotionally, financially, mentally, physically, if we play our cards right. And for those of you that want to, it's okay to take this time and rest and relax and figure things out, because this wasn't a planned thing, right? But for me, I just got to start moving forward. Like always, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And you can always like, comment, subscribe if you really want. And I'll see you in the next video.